Close your eyes for a second and think about your earliest childhood memory. Maybe it's your 4th birthday party, maybe it's the first day of school, maybe it's a family vacation to the beach. You can see it, right? The colors, the faces, maybe even what you were wearing. Now open your eyes, because I'm about to prove to you that most of that memory is completely fake. Not sort of inaccurate, not a little fuzzy around the edges. Fake, as in it never happened the way you remember it. And the really disturbing part? You have no idea which parts are real and which parts your brain just made up last week. For your entire life, you've been building your identity on a foundation of memories. Your childhood shaped who you are. Your experiences made you. That embarrassing moment in 3rd grade, that fight with your best friend, that time your parents said something that hurt you. These memories are the story you tell yourself about yourself. But here's what neuroscience has proven beyond any doubt. Your brain doesn't record memories like a camera. It doesn't store them like files on a hard drive. Every single time you remember something, your brain reconstructs it from fragments. And every single time you do that, you change it. This isn't a theory, this is documented, repeatable, scientific fact. And once you understand how it works, you'll never trust your own mind the same way again. So how much of your childhood is actually real? And if your memories are fake, then who are you really? The answer is hiding in one of the most controversial experiments in psychology. And it changes everything we think we know about identity, truth, and what it means to be human. Let's start with what memory actually is, because memory is not what you think it is. For most of human history, people understood this instinctively. Ancient cultures didn't trust individual memory, they trusted collective memory. Stories, verified by multiple witnesses, told and retold until the community agreed on the version. They knew that one person's memory was unreliable. But then came the age of science, photography, recording devices. We started to believe that our brains worked like those machines, that memories were stored somewhere in your head, perfectly preserved, waiting to be played back. The problem is, that's completely wrong. In the 1970s, a psychologist named Elizabeth Loftus began studying something that would make her one of the most controversial scientists in America. She wanted to know how accurate are our memories really? She started with a simple experiment. She showed people footage of a car accident. Then she asked them questions about what they'd just seen. But here's the twist, she changed one word in the question. To one group, she asked, how fast were the cars going when they hit each other? To another group, she asked, how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other? Same footage, same accident, one word different. The group that heard the word smashed estimated the cars were going significantly faster. But here's what's really disturbing. A week later, Loftus brought the participants back and asked them, did you see any broken glass in the footage? There was no broken glass in the video, none. But the people who heard the word smashed, 32% of them remembered seeing broken glass. They didn't just estimate speed differently, they created an entirely false memory based on one word in one question asked after the event. Think about this. These people weren't lying, they genuinely remembered broken glass. Their brains took a suggestion, the word smashed implies broken glass, and wove it into the memory as if it had always been there. Loftus called this the misinformation effect. And it didn't just work on strangers watching car crashes, it worked on everything. Personal memories, childhood experiences, traumatic events. But here's what's fascinating. Loftus didn't stop there. She wanted to know if you could implant a completely false memory of something that never happened at all. In 1995, Loftus and her colleague, Jacqueline Pickrell, published a study that would change memory science forever. They recruited participants and told them they'd be helping with research about childhood memories. They gave each participant 4 stories about their childhood, 3 real stories confirmed by family members, and 1 completely fake story. The fake story? Getting lost in a shopping mall as a child. The researchers described the event in detail. You were about 5 years old, you were shopping with your family, you wandered off, you were lost and scared and crying. An elderly woman helped you and reunited you with your family. None of this ever happened. The participants went home and were told to write down everything they could remember about these 4 events. Then they came back a week later, then 2 weeks later. By the end of the study, 25% of participants fully believed the mall story was real. They didn't just say, yeah, maybe that happened. They elaborated. They added details that weren't in the original story. They described what they were wearing, what the old woman looked like, how scared they felt. One participant described the woman who helped her as kind of grandmotherly with grey hair. Another remembered feeling really frightened and recalled the layout of the mall. These weren't hazy, uncertain memories. These were vivid, emotional, detailed memories of events that never happened. Nobody told them to make it up. Nobody suggested they were being deceived. They genuinely remembered being lost in that mall. And when the researchers revealed the truth, that one of the 4 stories was planted, many of them refused to believe it. Even when shown proof, some participants insisted the memory was real. This wasn't isolated to one study. Other researchers replicated the effect with different false memories, nearly drowning as a child, being attacked by an animal, meeting Bugs Bunny at Disneyland. Impossible, because Bugs Bunny is a Warner Brothers character, not Disney. In a 2002 study, researchers convinced 50% of participants that they'd once taken a hot air balloon ride as a child by showing them a doctored photograph of themselves in a balloon. They'd never been in a hot air balloon, but the photo was enough. Within days, they had full memories of the experience. But the really disturbing discovery came next. Researchers found that it's not just strangers in lab coats who can implant false memories. Your own brain does it constantly, without any outside interference. In 2013, neuroscientist Steve Ramirez and his team at MIT did something that sounds like science fiction. They implanted a false memory into a mouse's brain. They put a mouse in a safe environment, let's call it room A, and recorded which neurons fired as the mouse formed a memory of that room. Then they put the mouse in a different room, room B, and while it was there, they used optogenetics to artificially reactivate the neurons associated with room A. While those neurons were firing, they gave the mouse a mild electric shock. The result? The mouse became terrified of room A, even though it had never been shocked there. It had a completely false memory of being hurt in a place where nothing bad had ever happened. This wasn't just changing a detail, this was creating a fear response to a fictional event. And if you can do that to a mouse, the architecture is there in human brains too. So here's where it gets personal, because we're not talking about lab experiments anymore. We're talking about you, your childhood, your identity. Think about your earliest memory again. Let me tell you what probably happened to it. First, you need to understand that you don't have any real memories from before age 2 or 3. This is called childhood amnesia. Your brain literally wasn't developed enough to form long-term declarative memories. The hippocampus, the part of your brain that encodes memories, isn't mature enough. So if you think you remember being a baby lying in your crib, looking up at a mobile, you don't. That's a story someone told you, or a photograph you saw, or a scene from a movie, and your brain filed it under my life. But even memories from age 4, 5, 6, the ones that feel real, they've been reconstructed hundreds of times. Every time you remember something, your brain has to pull fragments from different storage areas, visual details from one region, emotional context from another, narrative structure from another. Then it assembles them into a coherent experience. But here's the problem. Every time you do this, the memory becomes more about the last time you remembered it than the original event. Think about a story you've told many times, maybe a funny thing that happened on vacation, or an embarrassing moment at school. Every time you tell that story, you're not remembering the event. You're remembering the last time you told the story. And each time, small details shift. You emphasize different parts, you cut parts that don't land, you add a detail that makes it funnier. After 10 years of telling that story, the version in your head is the polished, performed version. The original event is gone. In 2014, researchers at Northwestern University published a study in the Journal of Neuroscience that proved this. They had people recall memories while in an fMRI machine. They found that the more someone recalled a specific memory, the less accurate it became. Each act of remembering literally degraded the memory. Lead researcher Donna Bridge put it perfectly. A memory is not simply an image produced by time. Traveling back to the original event, it can be an image that is somewhat distorted because of the prior times you remembered it. This is why siblings often have completely different memories of the same childhood event. You're not remembering what happened. You're each remembering your own reconstructed version, distorted by hundreds of retellings, influenced by your individual perspective, contaminated by suggestions from family stories and photographs. So how much of your childhood memory is fake? Studies suggest that by adulthood, approximately 50 to 70% of your childhood memories contain significant false elements. Not small details, significant elements. Who was there? What was said? Sometimes whether it happened at all. And here's the part nobody talks about. The memories you're most confident about, the ones that feel most vivid, most real, most important, are often the most corrupted. Research shows there's almost no correlation between memory confidence and memory accuracy. In a 2017 study published in Psychological Science, researchers found that people were just as confident in their false memories as they were in their true ones, sometimes more confident. You know that crystal clear memory of something traumatic or emotionally significant? The very fact that it's so clear should make you suspicious. Real memories fade and become fragmented over time. Vivid, detailed memories from decades ago are often the ones your brain has been actively reconstructing and reinforcing, which means they're the most likely to be contaminated. So what does this mean for your identity? For thousands of years, humans lived in oral cultures. Your identity wasn't based on your individual memory, it was based on your role in the community, your lineage, your place in the story that everyone agreed on. Then we shifted, we became individualistic. We started believing that your truest self was found by looking inward, by examining your past, by understanding your personal history. Therapy is built on this idea. Tell me about your childhood. What do you remember about your parents? What early experiences shaped you? The justice system is built on this idea. Eyewitness testimony, someone saying, "I remember what I saw," can send a person to prison for life. Family dynamics are built on this idea. You always did this. Don't you remember when you said that? That's not how it happened. But it's all built on a foundation that neuroscience has proven is unstable. Elizabeth Loftus became one of the most controversial figures in psychology because she testified as an expert witness in hundreds of court cases, many involving recovered memories of childhood abuse. She didn't say the abuse didn't happen. She said, "You cannot reliably distinguish a true recovered memory from a false implanted one." This made her a villain to some and a hero to others, but the science is undeniable. Memory is reconstructive, not reproductive, and the implications are staggering. The Innocence Project, which works to exonerate wrongly convicted people, has found that approximately 69% of DNA exonerations involved cases where eyewitness misidentification was a factor. People who swore under oath with complete confidence that they remembered seeing someone commit a crime. They were wrong. These weren't people lying, they genuinely remembered, and they were genuinely wrong. So if your memories are unreliable, if your childhood is partially fiction, what does that mean for you? Here's the reframe. And this is important. False memories aren't a design flaw, they're a feature. Your brain doesn't care about archival accuracy, it cares about survival, learning, and narrative coherence. A memory system that perfectly preserved every detail of your life would be useless. You'd be paralyzed by information. Instead, your brain does something much more sophisticated. It extracts meaning, it identifies patterns, it builds a coherent narrative that helps you navigate the world. This is why therapy can still work, even though memories are unreliable. You're not mining for objective historical truth. You're constructing a narrative that helps you understand your patterns and make different choices going forward. This is why oral traditions worked for thousands of years, even though they weren't historically accurate. They preserved wisdom, values, and cultural identity, not because they were factual, but because they were meaningful. And this is why you shouldn't panic about your false memories. Because even though 70% of your childhood memory might be inaccurate in its details, it's still functionally true in its essence. The question isn't, did this exactly happen this way? The question is, what pattern am I seeing? What meaning am I making? Is this narrative helping me or hurting me? But here's where it gets practical, because understanding this changes how you live right now. First, stop trusting vivid memories as gospel. That fight you remember having with your sibling where they said something unforgivable? Check with them. There's a decent chance they remember it completely differently or don't remember it at all. Neither of you is lying. Second, be careful about reinforcing negative narratives. Every time you tell the story of how your parent disappointed you, or how you were bullied, or how you failed at something important, you're strengthening that neural pattern. You're making it more vivid. You're also probably making it less accurate and more emotionally charged. Third, understand that you can change your relationship to your memories without changing the facts. Therapies like EMDR and memory reconsolidation work by accessing a memory and then updating the emotional context while it's active. You're not changing what happened, you're changing what it means. And fourth, this is the big one, realize that you're constructing your identity in real time, right now. Yourself is not a fixed thing determined by your past. It's a story you're telling, and you're the author. Neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett put it this way: you are not at the mercy of mythical emotion circuits buried deep within animalistic parts of your highly evolved brain. You are an architect of your experience. The same is true of memory. You are not at the mercy of your past. You are an architect of your narrative. For your entire life, you've been told that understanding yourself means digging into your memories, uncovering the truth of what happened to you, processing your past. And there's value in that process. But maybe the deeper truth is this: your memories are not archaeological artifacts waiting to be discovered. They're living stories being rewritten every time you access them. Every time you remember your childhood, you're not traveling back in time. You're creating a bridge between who you were and who you are now. And every time you cross that bridge, you change it slightly. For 300,000 years, your ancestors understood this instinctively. They knew that memory was communal, malleable, functional, rather than factual. They passed down stories that weren't historically accurate, but were deeply true. Then we invented cameras and recording devices and convinced ourselves that our brains worked the same way. That memory was about perfect preservation. We didn't just misunderstand memory, we built entire systems, legal, therapeutic, social, on that misunderstanding. And now, every day, people are imprisoned based on faulty memories. Families are torn apart over conflicting recollections. Individuals suffer from guilt and shame over events that might not have happened the way they remember. But here's what gives me hope. The same malleability that makes memory unreliable also makes it healable. The same reconstructive process that creates false details can also reframe traumatic ones. The same brain that adds broken glass to a car crash can also add compassion to a painful childhood memory. You are not your memories. You are the meaning you make from them. And now that you know that 70% of your childhood is essentially fiction, you have a choice. You can mourn the loss of objective truth, or you can embrace the freedom of narrative control. Your earliest memory, the one you pictured at the start of this video, is probably a patchwork of real fragments, family stories, photographs, and pure invention. The fourth birthday party might have actually been your fifth. Your mum's dress might have been blue, not red. Your best friend might not have even been there.